Hey, Natsu here. Today I'm going to do part 7 of my What If Deku was an immortal demon fairy. In the last part, Deku killed Zero, so his blessing is basically looking for someone to go into. Afterward, everyone went and did the license exam, as well as basically, well, doing the exact same thing, with basically only Shoto and Bakugo losing just like in the original for practically the same reason. Um, I've talked with someone and yeah, the blessing is going to Deku. So the massive powerhouse that he is basically even stronger during the night. Basically how it happened was he just got it at some point and never even knew about it for a while. Because when it is used, his muscles do grow like Escanor did, well do, but him it's during the night instead, and it's just a multiplier. So basically, it's not going to help that much for that many things. Actually, it's not even going to help that much in the story, since he's already stronger than pretty much everyone at this point. But yeah, the person with who I talked basically told me to give it to him, so that's what happens. So, after the license exam, the what happens is basically just like in the anime, with them looking for a hero agency to go to basically be heroes. Tokoyami going with Hawk, Ochako and Tsuyu going with the Dragon Lady. I never remember her name for some reason. Um, Kirishima going with Fat Gum, and Izuku going to Narai's agency. Just like in the anime, basically it's Mirio that asked that. Well, All Might tells Izuku about Night Eye, then yeah, All Might asks Mirio to do it. Basically, both Izuku and I completely forgot her name. Wait a bit. Okay, so yeah, it's Akiko and Izuku are going to Narai's agency. So when they get there with Mirio, he basically tells them to just make him laugh. Which, when they enter the place, um, Akiko is able to by making a cheesy joke that she basically just tried to make it right, but she didn't do it correctly. But because of how she didn't do it correctly, it basically made him laugh. But Izuku basically didn't do well for that, since he does have a sense of humor, but it's basically the same sense of humor as let's say his dad had, which is basically a massively dark humor. So he basically knew that if he was doing that, it would be not well. So he tried going for another thing, but it didn't really work. So then Izuku basically saw the All Might stuff and basically start talking about All Might, which now I start being interested. They keep talking. And after a bit, he tells Muriel and Bubble Girl to leave because he's going to test them. And so he basically looked at them both in the eyes at some point and touched them while they were talking. So he was able to see what they were going to do. He asked for not Izumi, Akiko to go first. Sorry, I kind of did my female deku a bit earlier today, and I'm stuck with that. So, um, yeah, he starts with Akiko, which basically slow him down, and he basically thinks, okay, well, before she slow him down, he basically think she's her quirks is good because he's seeing that what she's going to do, and that it happens. Then when it goes for Izuku, he basically tells him to try, and the moment he tells him go, he just saw Izuku, well, he saw what Izuku was going to do, but basically it was happening in his mind at the same time that Izuku was truly doing it, so he literally didn't have time to even move. And he said, so, you're you're strong and fast, but I don't think you're fast enough to catch me. Which he basically just looked behind him and was like, how do you move that fast? And then Akiko basically tells him, he trained for 3,000 years in one of my bubbles. He's fast. Which he basically started looking at both of them, then at Izuku, and asked him, what is your quirks, truly? Then he explained the same lies as he told All Might, Gran Torino, and, well, practically every other heroes to who he told it. And so, Night Eye basically just thinks, so, there were quirks before what we thought, and some of them actually exist since a long time. Then he looks at Izuku and tells him, so, both your parents have quirks that make them age extremely slowly. Then he says, yeah, well, my dad also, yeah, my dad did have a quirk like that, but he's kind of dead now. Which then, for the first time, he asks who his father was, and he says the Demon Slayer hero, which Night Eye just basically goes like a little pale because, oh, it's his kid. Well, that explains why he's fast. And why a lot of things basically can happen with him. So, he basically allows them to be there because, well, both of them catched it. He asked Mirio to come back in. Then he tells him to help, well, basically, he tells them to go on patrol. Akiko comes with them. While on patrol, the same thing happens with Eri. But when Izuku saw Chisaki, no, I always call him Bird Mask in my head, so it's hard to remember his name. But the moment Izuku saw him, he knew he couldn't let Eri go back with him, and he basically told Akiko bubble, which she knows what that means. And she basically slowed him down completely to a point of literally being stopped in time, almost. Eri basically asks what they did, and he says that, and Izuku tells her, "We're going to protect you." Then Mirio tells them, "You know you shouldn't do that. He's a crime boss, and well, in the mafia, if anything happens, it would be against the law." And then Izuku basically says, "Look at those injuries, and then tell me if you think it would be a good idea to leave it with him. Well, leave her with him." Which Mirio basically thinks, yeah, he's right. He then grabs Eri and makes Pollen Garden. Passing through it, she starts feeling all of the, well, wounds she have completely heal. She looks at him, thinking, wait, but why? And then he tells them that he's going back to Night Eye's agency, telling him what's happening, and that if anyone seemed to be, well, no, he says to, no, he asks Eri to show him where the door is, and then when she shows him, he tells Akiko to basically stop everything that is inside of that, and she basically make bubble upon bubble upon bubble that are basically covering every centimeters of it. Basically, she makes a bubble that slows down time in front of her, then around her one that accelerates it, and then she just passed everywhere, making bubbles on everything. So basically stopping the entire place from doing anything. Then seeing the true boss that is basically in a coma because of the guy. Basically grabbing him, well, the bed, and moving it out. Basically when she comes out, she says that they had, it looks like he was in danger, and they literally passed him through another pollen garden, which it woke him up, since it basically heals everything, even bones, if you're fast enough. So whatever the guy did to him, pretty sure it can be healed. So then Izuku basically grabs Eri, starts flying, and basically gets to Night Eye's agency, coming in with Eri, and basically telling him the entire thing that happened. And basically saying, so the entire place is stopped. Which Izuku says, yeah. So if Hiro goes there, they're going to be able to stop everyone, well, arrest everyone there at once, without them even trying to not go with them. So basically, he tells him that it was a bad move, but still good job. So that arc doesn't even happen. Night Eye doesn't even die. Mirio doesn't lose his quirk. And the League of Villain isn't even able to cut, well, Chisaki's arm. I'm just going to call him that because I really don't remember if it's that. So, at some point during that, Eri stayed with Midoriya and her quirk activated. When her quirk activated, they basically saw Midoriya being kind of in pain and Eri trying to move away from him. And then him telling her it's okay, nothing's happening. Because basically, he would be turned back in time, but her quirk doesn't work on him, simply because his body basically regenerates everything the second it tries to be rewinded. So her quirk basically doesn't even affect him. So he basically tries to tell her how to control it. Well, not control it, but trying to make it stop. And basically tells her to just let it all out. So basically, to let it flow, to not hold it back, and that everything's going to be okay. And basically, it stops over time by itself because the energy in the horn basically was gone. There wasn't any left. So, after that happened, and that it kind of stopped, he told everyone that he was going to try and train her to be able to control her quirk because he's probably the only thing unaffected by it. And so they decide that they're going to cut um, the agency thing short for him so that he can be at the school near Eraserhead, so that if he's not close to her, at least he's able to stop her. So that's basically what happens. So he's not continuing, but everyone else does. So Kirishima did get attacked by a small group of them. Everything else that happened basically happened, just not for when they attacked the place. And so that arc kind of goes short because Izuku basically thinks fast and is able to sense things to his demon side, negative emotions, or when someone is going to attack, which he felt from Chisaki a lot. So once that happened, basically he stayed at school, continued with school. Eri was basically in class with everyone as much as possible, stay as close to Midoriya as much as possible. Every time they could, Midoriya was telling her to use her quirk on him and try to control it. And so basically up until the festival of UA, he basically trained her to be able to control her quirk. Her horn is basically always grown now because she's able to control if. Okay, so yeah, he basically trained her to be able to control it perfectly. That's basically it. So when the festival happened, basically same thing happened for the dance moves and stuff like that. Wait. I'm trying to think of something. I think Mineta was the one that was replaced by Akiko. So, well, since basically someone had to be taken out, so Mineta, so he's not going to be there, but I think he wasn't really doing much anyway in the festival, so that's not really a problem. Yeah, I was just thinking about that all of a sudden. So basically, they did the same dance move and stuff like that. Um, they decided to use Akiko's quirk for one of the fun thing to do. Like they used uh, the laser guy to make, well, lasers. And so with her, what they did was basically, um, well, it was to put it around Izuku while he turned, well, basically in his demon form with his wing growing, since when he activates it, it basically just goes fast. So what they had decided to do was basically make him fly, put a bubble around him that was basically just slowing it down a bit, and basically, well, doing his transformation, which sends a lot of wind away from him, but is extremely cool to watch. So that's one of the things they're going to do. And Izuku in the anime decided to go buy what he needed to make caramel apple or candy apple for Eri. In this one, he doesn't need to do that since she was probably able to eat some a lot with him since she liked apple. So, but let's say he wanted to go buy something special for her anyway. And so basically he went there and he saw Gentle Criminal and Labarava. So when that happened, he basically tried to stop them as much as possible, which basically pushed them to go practically the same place as they did in the anime, but with him just basically. The only reason he was getting pushed away this time was because Gentle was making a lot of elastic air, which was blocking Izuku most of the time. So he was basically having to move around trying to not get pushed away. So they got to be, well, they were able to go all the way to the forest up until Izuku was basically able to kind of throw them, push them down. So once in the forest and that they were pinned down, um, they, Lebrov basically activated her quirk, and they weren't even able to move him. Then he basically told them that no matter what they would try, he was way too strong for them, which they kind of got after that. Then the other heroes arrived, and um, this time Izuku didn't lose the bag, first thing. Second thing, Gentle basically did the same lie, so same thing happened. Then Izuku was basically told by the ghost guy or plasma guy that he was going to bring him to school, and Izuku basically told him he could be there in like 10 seconds, and basically went. So he was able to get there a lot earlier. Eri was with Mirio for all of that time. Then when the spectacle started, well, the show, the dance happened. Things with Twinkle or Shine or whatever. Aoyama basically he did his thing, and then after that happened, Izuku jumped up A bubble was made around him while Aoyama kept shooting towards him, making basically a light show kind of hit him, and then him starting to transform into his demon form, with his wing basically coming out and everything, as well as putting on his armor, which made basically a massive gust of wind. Everyone basically saw an armor with black like energy and black wings on it, basically flying around with Aoyama basically sending his laser, basically doing the same thing that they did in the anime, but instead of Izuku running, he was basically just flying with him. So Eri was a lot happier than in the original because she was already a lot happy. She had a lot of happiness already in her. So all of that happened basically really well for them. And the gift he wanted to give her was basically, let's say, it was a special type of um, apple cake that was only found on the far side of town, like basically on the total opposite side of town. So he basically went there flying at max speed to get there on that, but came back a lot slower because, well, he didn't want to destroy the cake. And basically that was the gift for Eri. So I'm going to end it here because there's not really any more things for now in the anime. Hope you liked it. The next time I'm going to do another video probably right after midnight, and it's going to be a new what if. Because I wanted to do that one for a long time. I forgot about it, and I just saw a comment about something that basically reminded me of it. So yeah, hope you liked this one. It was fun to do. I'm going to have to wait for basically multiple episodes before being able to do it again, so it might take about a month or so before I'm able to do another part on this. So yeah, Natsu out.